Good Friday morning! Let's talk about maintaining your vintage Farberware percolator. Tips and tricks. Proceed at your own peril. You may notice that Farberware percolators, the lids are really hard to get off. They make these percolators so these lids are really on tight so that you can pour without fear of the top coming off. But it's overkill. You take this off, you have these little tabs going around. And these tabs latch onto the inside of the percolator, make it really difficult to remove. Tip number 1, proceed at your own risk. Get some pliers, needle nose pliers. Find that tab and squish it just a little. Go around and squish it just a little and squish it just a little. That will make this easier to go down and easier to come off. That's tip number 1. Proceed at your own peril. We made some coffee this morning, yummy. This is not about cleaning a dirty percolator. If you've just picked up one of these beauties, 134Bs, if it's really dirty inside, you can try pouring hot water and baking soda and letting it soak. You can throw some dishwasher detergent in there, fill up the little hole, run it through a cycle, and that may clean it up if it was just lightly tarnished and dirty. Otherwise you're going to have to go in with a sponge and Barkeeper's Friend, but that's okay. You can get a sponge in the hole with Barkeeper's Friend. This is about maintenance. You probably know this is not submersible. You can't just stick this in a sink of water and submerge it, because this line here, that is not watertight. Now some models later on, if you look really closely, there's little hole marking. There are like 4 of them. Some of these models actually have holes in the base. I think that helps it dry out. What I found though is just washing this under the water, you still might get some water going in there because it's not sealed. Let's take the base off just to show you. And look how easy that came up. If water gets in here, this can rust. You don't want water getting in here. It hurts the contacts. But if you just look, it's just a lip. It's just a tiny lip here. And that lip goes around this edge. But it is not watertight. So if you've just picked up a vintage Farberware percolator, you want to make sure that this screw is snug. Not overly tight, because this is Bakelite. It's nice and snug. Because if you bought a used one, you don't know if the screw is tight. So that's the first thing you got to check. Don't overly tighten it, nice and snug. And flip around. You hear that noise? In the Farberware instructions it says to keep this area clean, there's a washer here that helps with the water uptake. If that washer is not wobbly and loosey, then you want to really clean in here, maybe with a toothbrush. And once a month, clean out the tube. You can actually see the soap is a little coffee colored. If this is really dark and dirty, you can soak this in a bleach bath. But if you do that, you really have to wash it and wash it and wash it, because you don't want to be drinking bleach. Put it through a couple of cycles of percolation as well. Blow in the tube. Get any liquid in there out. Use a scrubby like this or a sponge. We're going to use a sponge today. Let's go manual. this is just soap and water because it's already clean. This is maintenance. Get the sponge down in that little hole. Now you've got a pot full of soap. Grab yourself a clean paper towel or two. Stick this under the water. All right, now we're going to pour it out and wipe. Pour it out and wipe. Put it under the faucet. Turn the water off and wipe. This stops the water from getting into the seam. One more. And if you want to be sure, just get your hand in there and make sure the sides are nice and unsoapy. Pour the water out and wipe. And then just dry it. Get the towel into a little nubbin of a hole. Nice and dry in there. Got a beautiful percolator. Still a good click, but it's much easier to get off. The way they're designed, if you pull this off, this just goes shooting up, sometimes on the counter. It might seem like a little extra work, but it's worth it. Thanks for joining me this Friday. You know what I'm going to say? What am I going to say? I have to lose some weight. Thanks for watching.